So what are the major achievements of your ministry? What would you like to tell us?
Well, the Ministry of Rural Development is the largest spending ministry of the Government of India in the civilian sector, next only to defence. The budgetary allocation in 2012-2013 is 99,000 crores. The second only to defence, as I mentioned. Now, in rural development, the central government does not take on any direct implementation responsibility. What it does is it provides the funding, and the implementation is through the states and through local bodies like Gram Panchayats and Zilla Panchayats and Block Panchayats. We have a large number of flagship programs, the Mahatma Gandhi Narega, the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana for rural roads, the Indira Awas Yojana for houses for poor people, the National Rural Drinking Water Program and the Sanitation Program for providing clean drinking water to habitations, the National Rural Livelihoods Mission, which is a new program which is oriented towards encouraging the formation of women's self-help groups and the use of these self-help groups for social programs. So we have a variety of these programs, and to ensure the effectiveness of implementation of these programs has been a big challenge. We also have had, there's also the watershed management program, I might add here, which is also very important. Now, a second area of achievement would be, I think, there are a large number of new laws that we have to build. The most important is the repeal of the 117-year-old land acquisition law, goes back to 1894. We have introduced a bill in Parliament, the Standing Committee has given its recommendations, and we are now taking the bill forward. So that I would say that that's the second big achievement of the ministry. The third big achievement of the ministry is to bring a sharp focus in the implementation of rural development programs in the districts which have been affected by Maoist and Naxalite violence. There are about 78 districts of India, West Bengal, Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, and UP, parts of UP, where Maoists have spread their tentacles. And I believe that if we use rural development programs creatively, we will be able to win the hearts and minds of people, particularly the tribal communities, the Adivasis. So these are, I think, the 3 or 4 main achievements in the last couple of months.
Is development, do you think, is that the answer in Naxal areas? Is that
No, I think that's not the only answer. I think we need a 3-pronged strategy. We need a political strategy, for political mobilization, political cadre building, political parties to be actively involved in street campaigns, attending to the grievances of the people. That's one. The political strategy is one. Second is the development strategy. The development strategy that has to be far more demonstrably sensitive to the needs of tribals who are often displaced because of mining and so on and so forth. And the third is the police strategy, the security forces. So it's political mobilization, is development, particularly tribal-friendly development, and very humane and sensitive police operations. Remember that the Naxalite areas, the Naxal districts, they are forest districts, they are tribal districts, they are mineral-rich districts, they are far away, remote areas, and they are usually located in the tri-junctions of states, Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Andhra, Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Andhra, Jharkhand, Bengal, Orissa, Jharkhand, Orissa, Bihar. These are all the tri-junction areas these districts are located. So we need a mix of approaches, but I would say it is politics, development, and then police.
One of the key factors is the execution of these projects on the ground. I mean, that's been one of the areas which have been basically a problem thing for development in these areas. What is it that you plan to do to ensure that there's better execution?
Well, one of the things is to make sure that some of these programs do get implemented, because connectivity is a very big issue in these areas. Road connectivity, for example, is missing in many of these areas. We need to ensure better, faster construction of roads, and roads that don't get blown up by IEDs. By the Maoists and so on. So that's one issue. There's another issue is that you don't have adequate staff, you don't have adequate manpower. Nobody wants to stay in these areas. So how do we motivate and incentivize local officers to actually, to work here? We have launched a very unique one of the initiatives that we have launched is the Prime Minister's Rural Development Fellows. We have selected 2 professionals in the age group of 22 to 30 from the open market, and they're going to be spending the next 2 years of their lives in these 78 districts. So 156 people have been selected. These are IT professionals, these are lawyers, some of them are doctors, some of them are engineers. Basically, to devote some 2 years of quality time in looking at how to improve the effectiveness of the programs on the ground.
Are these people already on the ground?
Yeah, they're undergoing a training. They're in the field training. They're now in the next couple of weeks. They will actually be positioned in the districts.
Now, Narega is one of the biggest job employment programs across the world, and I think it's covering about 1/4 to 1/5 of the total rural population in the country. That's the kind of stats that.
Yeah.
What has been the social impact of Narega?
Well, there are 4 positive impacts of Narega so far. One, agricultural wage rates have gone up in rural areas, and we all know that the single most important determinant of poverty is agricultural wage rates. When wage rates go up, poverty falls. Wage rates falls, poverty goes up. So there is robust evidence to show that across the country, Narega has pushed up agricultural wages, number 1. Number 2, distress migration in many parts of the country has come down. In fact, I was in Punjab recently, and the complaint in Punjab is they are no longer getting people from Orissa and Bihar and UP to come and work in their farms. And that's the success of Narega, in these states. So distress migration has come down. Thirdly, community assets are being built. Water tanks are being cleaned, roads are being built, watersheds are being managed better. In fact, 70% of the expenditure in Narega is for water-related structures. Previously uncultivable and barren land has been brought under cultivation. So community assets have been created. And fourthly, more psychological, there's a sense of empowerment. People from lower castes or women who would normally have to stand up when the person from the higher caste would walk by, now they confront them on an equal footing.
Social dynamics have
So social dynamics has changed, in deeply structured societies. So these are the 4 positive elements, but there are negative elements also. There's a fake muster roll. Many people who should be getting the jobs are not getting the jobs. Delayed payments of wages in some places, particularly Naxal affected areas. You get wages after 6 months, 7 months because there are no banks, there are no post offices. So we are looking Aadhaar, for example. One of the initiatives that Mr. Rahul Gandhi has really championed and pioneered. We are looking at Aadhaar as a way of delivering services to the people directly, whether it is pensions or whether it is wages or whether it is scholarships.
One of the key things that when they talk about Narega is that it's perhaps fueling food inflation. Would you agree with these?
No. I think wages have gone up. There's more money in the rural economy, but there's no reason why, if supply is also increasing, why inflation should go up. I think inflation is far more complex phenomenon. There's also, remember, we are living in an open economy right now with increases in global prices of commodities. You cannot remain immune to inflationary pressures. My own view is that in India, inflationary expectations play a far more important role than actual inflation itself. It's the expectations, it's the psychology of inflation that drives inflationary pressures.